Us Christians have to be better with this. We often say, "Come as you are" to the Lord, to people that aren't believers. And I myself was once told this, and I myself have told people this, but in the same way, I was either judged for the things I were doing, and I judged people for the things they were doing. So, as Christians, we shouldn't be hypocritical in this sense. We look to the books of the Bible where Jesus is most hard on the religious hypocrites who were on the synagogues and in the synagogues, banishing people for not living perfect lives. But only God is perfect in this sense, and only God works out those things in us. But does this mean we shouldn't tell people when they sin? No, but it's how we approach them. We shouldn't act like we're better or holier than the next person, but rather we should push each other to be more set apart, or that word holy literally means be set apart from the world. Why? Because God calls us to, but it's not us who does the work. We read in 1 Corinthians that Paul says he planted a seed, the other disciple and apostle named Apollos waters the seed, but only God is the one who makes it grow. So we shouldn't be taking our own attributes to make someone look more to Christ. We can help, we can give encouragement, but we shouldn't act like we're sinless. We've been cleaned and cleansed to be sinless in the eyes of God, but it doesn't mean we never sin. So we shouldn't hold others to that same standard, but rather hold to the standard that God is renewing them, and we shouldn't be discouraging them from walking by faith, but encouraging them, because the sins we struggle with and that they might struggle with now aren't the sins they will be struggling with. Because if a person truly accepts Jesus, they're going to fall, but it means Jesus will work in them so that they don't as much. And eventually, it says in Philippians chapter 1 verse 6 that Jesus himself will complete the good work in them at the day of his return. So as Christians, we should say, "Come as you are." We should actually mean it. We shouldn't say it with the same mouth and then curse them behind their back, being a gossip, or saying that, hey, you must not be truly loving Jesus enough, that's why you're anxious or whatever. It's a thing I've literally heard in my life. So as Christians, we gotta be better. Doesn't mean we should condone sin or any behavior, but rather be encouraging and empathetic, where we relate to them and say, hey, I'm a Christian, I struggled with this, or I struggle with this, but God is with us both. So we shouldn't discourage people from going away from the church. If someone truly loves Jesus, yes, they'll have their faults. Only Jesus is perfect. And we are told to make disciples of all nations, all people. We shouldn't prevent or gatekeep Christianity. We shouldn't gatekeep the church, which is to many people a building, but the church is literally physical people who follow and place their faith in Jesus. We're called to be his hands and feet to do the good works. Jesus is most close to those who are broken, but he's far from those who try to be perfect in their own sense. But the people he was close to, the tax collectors, who were outcast in the world, he was closest to. So we should be encouraging them to turn to Christ, and not to the world, but to Jesus, because Jesus will help them to overcome those things. And even Cephas, also known as Peter or Simon, he denied Jesus 3 times at the cross, but he still loved Jesus. And we see that because he is told that the church will be built upon him, because of his word, his teaching, and his apostleship. So this is something we gotta do better as Christians. And this should be an encouraging thing, not a discouraging thing. If you've done this, which I have, repent, acknowledge it's wrong, and God will make the path straight. We should be encouraging people, encouraging them to go to Christ, because Jesus is the one who changes. We shouldn't act like we're better than anyone, because we're all bound to eternal condemnation. But if you are in Jesus, there's no condemnation for whoever you are. Jesus will work in you to cleanse you and sanctify you so that you walk in his steps. It's not overnight, but God is patient and love is patient. And who is love? God is love. God bless.